Hi and welcome to the today's English class, and in the today's class we are going to continue the chapter which we discussed in the previous class. In the previous class we were discussing the chapter 14, an uncomfortable bed, and that's what we are going to continue today. An uncomfortable bed, it was written by the author, a French writer, Maupassant. And he was a French writer who had written nearly 300 short stories and with a surprise ending at the end. And even in this story, we have a surprise ending. The author had narrated an incident which had happened during the autumn. And the word I, which represents the narrator. And I am going to play the role of the narrator. It was autumn. I went to stay with my friends for the hunting season in a chateau. Chateau, which means castle, which is in Picardy. As I went to stay with my friends in Picardy for the hunting season. And my friends were fond of practical jokes. Mostly all of them. All of my friends were fond of practical jokes. A practical joke is making fun of a friend by making him slipping onto the floor or pulling on the chair or by scaring him off. And on that day, I thought that they are going to make a practical joke on me. Because when I arrived, I welcomed like a prince. Yes, I received a princely reception. All of my friends and all of the servants in the castle, they received me. It was like a princely reception, and that strikes my mind that they are going to make a practical fun of me. Yes, a practical joke. We all went inside the castle and we all spent that day in the castle. It was during the dinner time. We all sat together for the dinner. The servants served the dinner and my friends, they were all thinking about the silly jokes and they were laughing out loud. It was really excessive. And I thought in my mind, look, old ferret, you are going to be the victim of that practical joke. So be aware of it. Here are the friends who are going to laugh at you. So you should be aware of it. So try to avoid from it. I looked at each and every one of them suspiciously. Yes, they were looking like suspects. I looked at each and every one of their words as well as their gestures. And not only at my friends, even at the servants. They were looking suspicious. I looked at each and every one of them because I don't want to be a victim of that practical joke. And after the dinner, it was the time to go to our bed. It was during the time I go to my bed, I had a thought of that they are going to make me the victim of their practical joke. Because all of them, all of the household, including the servants and my friends, they escorted me into my apartment. I entered my apartment with a wax candle in my hand. I stood in the same place and was looking at each and every object inside it. And I thought not to leave myself in the darkness, so I took short steps near to the mantelpiece and I lighted all the candles. It was bright and I searched each and every single object inside the apartment and I looked for the thing that they are going to make fun of me. And it was clear, it was all clear, nothing in that apartment. And there was a big window with large shutters. I came really close to that shutter and closed it carefully. And after closing the shutter, still I had something in my mind. So I closed the curtains and I placed the chair in front of it. And I sat on the chair and I was looking at every single object inside the apartment because I don't want to be a victim of that practical joke. The time was fine. It was a time for me to go to bed. Everything was clear in that room and I looked at the bed. But the bed was particularly suspicious looking. The bed was looking suspicious. I looked carefully at the bedstead. I thought they could have made something on the bedstead which could make me a victim on that practical joke. So I don't want to be a victim of the practical joke. I looked at each and every corner of it and I pulled out the curtains and looked at the mattress and the bedclothes on it. Everything was looking normal. Still I had a doubt in my mind that if I fall into the bed, I could be sinking or I could receive a cold shower. I don't want to be a victim of that practical joke. So I slowly and carefully pulled out the mattress and the bedclothes and dragged it towards the middle of my apartment. Yes, I dragged the bedclothes and the mattress to the middle of the apartment. I placed it in the middle of the apartment and a bit closer to the door. And then I looked at each and every object inside the apartment. And after looking at it, I slipped into the bedclothes and was not sleeping. After slipping into the bedclothes, I was not sleeping. I was just looking at everything for at least an hour. An hour I was looking at each and everything and it was so clear. I was about to go to sleep. And I closed my eyes and went to sleep. It was really a deep sleep I had. And suddenly I was awakened. I was awakened with a start by the fall of a heavy body tumbling right on top of my own body. Something was falling on my body and I was not able to move. Yes, I don't know whose body it was. Someone has fallen on me. And what happened next? At the same time, I received on my face, on my chest, on my neck, a burning liquid. Someone has poured burning liquid on me. And someone was on me. I was not able to move. The whole body, the entire body of that person was right on top of my own body. I was unable to move. It was really painful. The burning liquid, it made me shout aloud. I shouted and I was searching who it was. I just took out the bedclothes and was searching for him, who it was. I found a face with a nose and whiskers. I found it. I just made a heavy blow on his face. You know what? After I had given a heavy blow on his face, I received slappings. Over and over again, he was slapping me again and again. I couldn't stop it. So I just took up the bedclothes and I ran into a door which was open. And I ran into the corridor. I was standing in the corridor and my sound, my noise made all my friends in that castle, the chateau, they came into my room and was beside me. They were beside me. My friends and I were looking at that person who was on my bed. To our surprise, it was nothing but a servant. He was a servant in that chateau. He had brought me a cup of tea and a breakfast. He brought me my breakfast and a cup of tea. And some obstacle had tripped him over me. And you know that? And that obstacle was the mattress which I had placed in the middle of the apartment and which was nearly close to the door. And that obstacle and that mattress had made him trip over me. They all laughed, my friends, they all laughed at me. The precautions which I had made assured that I am not going to be a victim of that practical joke. Finally, I made myself a victim of practical joke. The precautions which I had taken are closing the shutters and checking each and every object inside the apartment and the mattress. I pulled the mattress off the bed and kept it in the middle of the room. And those precautions finally made me a victim of that practical joke. They all laughed. My friends, everyone in the household, they laughed at me. The whole day they have laughed at me. And that's the happy ending of this story. I hope you have really enjoyed it. Thank you for watching this video.